Ladies and gentlemen, have you ever noticed that two people can have the same job, the same tools, and the same hours, yet one creates impact while the other simply completes tasks? The difference isn't skill, it's mindset. It's how they see their role in the bigger picture. One works for a paycheck, the other works for a purpose. One waits for direction, the other creates direction. The truth is, leadership is not a position, it's a way of thinking. We live in a world that rewards activity, not always contribution. Many people are busy being busy, doing what's asked, following instructions, checking boxes, and yet they never feel fulfilled. But those who think like leaders see work differently. They don't just ask, "What must I do?" They ask, "Why does this matter? How can I make it better? Who does this serve?" That's what separates workers from leaders. A worker does what's necessary. A leader does what's meaningful. And today I want to share with you 5 principles that can help you start thinking like a leader, no matter what title you hold or where you are in your journey. Workers focus on what needs to be done. Leaders focus on why it needs to be done. That's the first and most defining difference between the two. One person wakes up in the morning thinking about the tasks waiting on their desk, the emails to answer, the deadlines to meet. The other wakes up thinking about the impact they can make, the purpose behind their work, and the difference they can leave by the end of the day. The first survives the day, the second shapes it. When you think like a worker, your world becomes small, limited to to-do lists and checkboxes. Every task feels like an obligation. But when you think like a leader, that same work transforms into something meaningful. You begin to see the bigger picture, the story you're helping to tell, the mission you're contributing to, the people your work will touch. It's not about doing more. It's about understanding why you're doing it in the first place. Imagine a construction site where 2 people are laying bricks. If you ask the first person what they're doing, they might say, "I'm laying bricks." Ask the second, and they might say, "I'm building a cathedral that will inspire generations." Same task, same tools, but one person is connected to a vision much larger than themselves. That's the difference between a worker's mindset and a leader's mindset. One is driven by obligation, the other by purpose. This shift in mindset changes everything: your motivation, your creativity, even your energy. When you focus only on tasks, fatigue sets in faster. You feel like you're endlessly running on a treadmill, moving but never progressing. But when you connect your work to a purpose, it gives you fuel. Suddenly, even the hard days have meaning. The late nights feel worth it. The challenges become part of the story you're building, not just obstacles in your way. In organizations, this difference is visible everywhere. The employees who see their work as a job often wait for someone to tell them what to do next. But those who think like leaders, no matter their title, look for how their role contributes to the whole. They ask better questions. Instead of, "What should I do?" they ask, "What needs to be done to move us closer to our goal?" That question alone transforms the way they work, because it's no longer about personal performance, it's about shared progress. There's a story of 2 janitors who worked at NASA in the 1960 seconds. When one was asked what he did, he said, "I clean floors." When the other was asked, he replied, "I'm helping put a man on the moon." Think about that. Both were doing the same job, yet one saw his role as a small piece of a monumental mission. That's leadership thinking. It's not about your title, it's about your perspective. Leaders see connections where others see compartments. They understand that every role, every effort, every small decision contributes to something greater. They don't measure their worth by the size of their task, but by the impact of their contribution. And because they see the bigger picture, they naturally inspire others to do the same. Purpose spreads when one person works with vision. It lifts the entire team. When you shift from thinking about what you do to why you do it, your priorities change. You stop chasing quick wins and start building lasting value. You start caring not just about getting the job done, but about doing it right. You think beyond your own checklist and start thinking about how your work affects the mission, the team, and even the customers or community you serve. Thinking like a leader doesn't require a promotion, it requires perspective. The moment you start seeing your work as part of something greater, you step into leadership. Because leadership is not about being in charge. It's about being connected to purpose, to people, and to progress. And that connection gives meaning to everything you do. So when you show up tomorrow, don't just ask yourself, "What do I need to do today?" Ask, "Why am I doing this? Who will it serve? What will it build?" Because when your why is clear, your what becomes powerful. That's how ordinary work becomes extraordinary impact. Workers wait for instructions, leaders take ownership. That's one of the clearest ways to separate those who simply show up from those who truly make things happen. A worker waits for someone to tell them what to do next, while a leader looks around, sees what needs to be done, and takes responsibility for making it happen. Ownership isn't about authority, it's about attitude. It's about seeing yourself as part of the solution, not a bystander to the problem. When you take ownership, something powerful shifts inside you. You stop saying, "That's not my job," and start asking, "How can I help?" You stop waiting for permission and start taking initiative. You begin to act not because someone told you to, but because you understand why it matters. That's when trust starts to build, because people can always feel when someone genuinely cares about the outcome. There's a story about a young employee working at a hotel. One day, a guest arrived exhausted after a long flight, but her luggage had been misplaced. The worker could have said, "That's not my department," and directed her to the front desk. Instead, he took ownership. He called the airline, tracked down the missing bag, and personally delivered it to her room later that night. He wasn't a manager, but that day, he was a leader. Because leadership isn't about job titles, it's about the willingness to take responsibility for things that matter. The truth is, ownership and initiative are what create progress. Every great organization, every remarkable achievement exists because someone cared enough to take responsibility before being asked. Think about the people you admire in your company, in your family, in your community. What sets them apart? It's not that they're always right, it's that they step up when it counts. They don't wait for instructions, they take action. They see problems as opportunities to contribute, not burdens to avoid. And yet, many people hold back because they fear stepping outside their lane. They think, if I speak up, what if I'm wrong? What if I overstep? But here's the truth, real leaders don't worry about looking perfect. They focus on doing what's right. Mistakes can be corrected. Indifference cannot. A worker mindset seeks to avoid blame. A leader mindset seeks to create change. The difference between the two is courage, the courage to care enough to act. In one tech company, a junior engineer noticed a recurring bug that caused system slowdowns. It wasn't in his assigned area, but he decided to investigate anyway. After days of analysis, he discovered the root cause and proposed a fix that saved the company thousands of dollars a month. When asked why he spent so much time on something that wasn't technically his problem, he said, "Because it was our users' problem." That's ownership. That's leadership. Taking ownership also changes how others see you. When people notice that you consistently go beyond what's expected, they start to trust you more deeply. They see you as dependable, as someone who can be counted on not just to do the job, but to protect the mission. And that trust compounds it, opens doors, builds influence, and eventually shapes culture. Because one person's decision to take ownership inspires others to do the same. Responsibility is contagious. When you think like a worker, you focus on tasks. You wait for directions, and when the job is done, you move on. But when you think like a leader, you see yourself as a steward of outcomes. You understand that success doesn't belong to one person or one department, it belongs to everyone who contributes. You stop thinking in terms of mine and theirs, and start thinking in terms of ours. That mindset changes everything. Imagine what would happen if every person in an organization thought this way, if everyone took initiative instead of waiting, if everyone treated the company's mission as their personal responsibility. There would be less blame, fewer excuses, and far more progress. That's the kind of culture where innovation thrives, trust deepens, and excellence becomes the standard. Ownership isn't about control, it's about care. It's not about having all the answers, it's about being willing to find them. When you take ownership, you become invested in the outcome not because someone will reward you, but because you believe in the work itself. And that belief, that willingness to take responsibility before being asked, is the essence of leadership. It's the difference between working for something and standing for something. Workers look for stability, but leaders look for growth. That's the truth many people don't want to face, because growth means change, and change is uncomfortable. But comfort never built anything extraordinary. Every great story, every remarkable breakthrough, every powerful transformation begins with someone who decided to step outside the comfort of the familiar and into the uncertainty of growth. When you think like a worker, your goal is to avoid risk, to do your job well enough to stay safe. You find a rhythm, a routine, and you cling to it because it feels secure. But security can be deceptive. The same routine that makes you feel comfortable can also make you stagnant. You might not realize it, but slowly your curiosity fades, your creativity shrinks, your courage weakens. And one day, you look around and realize you're surviving, not evolving. Leaders think differently. They see discomfort not as danger, but as an invitation. They understand that growth only happens when you're stretched, when you take on challenges you've never faced before. They ask questions that don't have easy answers. They make decisions that might not work, and that's the point. Because growth is not about certainty, it's about expansion. It's about learning, adapting, and becoming more capable with every mistake, every setback, every uncomfortable moment. Think about how muscles grow. They don't get stronger by being comfortable, they grow through resistance. Each repetition tears the muscle slightly, and the body rebuilds it stronger than before. Growth in life works the same way. Without resistance, there's no strength. Without discomfort, there's no evolution. Leaders embrace that process. They see failure as feedback, not as a reason to stop. They see challenge as training, not punishment. There's a story about a young sales associate who worked in a company where the manager noticed her potential. One day, he gave her a new territory one that had failed for years. The previous team members had all quit, calling it impossible. Most people would have seen it as a punishment, but she saw it as an opportunity. She spent weeks learning about the clients, understanding their frustrations, and finding small ways to build trust. Within a year, that dead zone became one of the company's top performing areas. When asked how she did it, she said, "I decided to stop avoiding hard things. That's where I learned the most." That's what thinking like a leader looks like. It's seeing the challenge and saying, "This will teach me something." It's recognizing that failure isn't fatal, stagnation is. The people who achieve the most in life aren't the ones who avoid discomfort. They're the ones who use it to grow. A study from Stanford University showed that people with a growth mindset, those who see abilities as something that can be developed, outperform those with a fixed mindset by nearly 40% over time. Why? Because they don't see struggle as a stop sign. They see it as a signal that they're moving forward. The truth is, growth is never glamorous. It's messy, it's uncertain, it's often lonely. But every moment of discomfort carries within it the seed of transformation. Leaders understand that if you only do what's easy, you'll stay where you are. If you want to evolve, you must lean into the things that make you uneasy. That's where progress lives. We all crave stability because it gives us a sense of control. But the world doesn't reward comfort. It rewards courage. The future belongs to those who adapt, who learn, who dare to stretch beyond their limits. It's not about being fearless. It's about being brave enough to act in spite of fear. Every time you step into uncertainty, you prove to yourself that you're capable of more than you thought. Growth changes not just what you can do, but who you become. It expands your vision, deepens your resilience, and builds confidence that no one can take away. The more you challenge yourself, the more capable you feel, and that capability becomes the foundation of true leadership. So, the next time you find yourself choosing between what's comfortable and what's challenging, remember this. Comfort keeps you where you are, but growth takes you where you're meant to be. Workers often compete to be seen, but leaders strive to make others seen. That's one of the most powerful distinctions between the two. A worker focuses on recognition. They want to be acknowledged for what they've done.
Hello, hello. Can anyone hear me? Can anyone see me?
Yes, can hear, can see you.
I see myself. Okay, welcome to another live session here. I know we're still expecting more people. Few people just joined. So I'll let you enjoy the motivation for a little bit for the next 2, 3 to 5 minutes. Then we start. And as you're enjoying that, put your name, location in the chat. Then we'll start very soon. Enjoy.
A leader focuses on contribution. They want others to succeed because of what they've done. The worker's question is, how can I stand out? The leader's question is, how can I lift others up? And that simple shift in mindset transforms everything. True leadership is not about being in charge. It's about taking care of those in your charge. When you think like a worker, success is personal. It's about your performance, your progress, your reward. But when you think like a leader, success becomes collective. It's about creating an environment where others can thrive, where people feel safe to take risks, where ideas can grow freely without fear of being dismissed or judged. We've all worked with people who guard their knowledge, who protect their position, who see others as competition. That's the worker mindset. It comes from fear, fear of being replaced, fear of not being enough, fear that someone else's success will diminish their own. But real leaders operate from abundance. They know that when others grow, the team grows. When the team grows, the mission advances. And when the mission advances, everyone wins. I once met a manager who understood this deeply. She was leading a team of young professionals, and instead of using her authority to control them, she used it to empower them. She encouraged them to speak up in meetings, to take ownership of projects, to make mistakes and learn. Within a year, her team became one of the most innovative and motivated groups in the company. Not because she had all the answers, but because she believed in their potential. She wasn't threatened by their growth, she was inspired by it. That's what leadership looks like. Leadership isn't about standing on top, it's about standing beside. It's about realizing that your job is not to shine alone, but to help others shine brighter. The best leaders don't crave followers, they create more leaders. They don't build empires of control. They build communities of trust. When people feel supported, they give their best. When they feel valued, they become more creative, more committed, more courageous. And here's something remarkable. When you empower others, your own influence doesn't shrink. It expands. Because people remember how you made them feel. They remember who believed in them when they doubted themselves. They remember who gave them a chance to grow. Those moments of empowerment build loyalty not because of authority, but because of connection. Think about the leaders who've made the biggest difference in your life. Chances are they weren't the ones who told you what to do, they were the ones who made you believe you could do it. Maybe it was a teacher who saw potential in you that
Hello. I'd say let's get started while others join. It's key that people join early. But yeah, people are still trying to figure things out. But yeah, welcome. How's everyone doing today? And I see Femi, you're joining from Saskatoon. Thank you for being here. Nice to see you again. You can unmute and talk. How you all doing today? It's it's great for me. Happy to be here with you. As we're waiting, so today we'll be looking at why smart people, and I'm sure a lot of people here, everybody here is smart. Why they get stuck, why the cap. You see senior managers. I've seen those people, senior managers making it to 5,000. I've seen some making, in the 90s, in the 140s, and then they feel like, well, that's the best they can do, right? I want to look at why that is, and you've heard a bit of the talk as well. Leaders and doers. What's the difference? High performers and executors. What's the difference? And how do you know where you are, who you are, and how to stand out and all of that? So that's what we'll be looking at today. Well, if you can put in the chat, if anyone can put in the chat what they're hoping to get out of the call today, or what made you join the call today. Let's see who's in the chat. Valentine. Let's see. Okay. Oh, joining from Ohio. Nice to have you, Valentine. Okay, so let me know what made you join the call today, what you're looking to get out of it. Then we'll start. Knowledge and opportunity. Nice. Absolutely. Knowledge is power. But like I said, knowledge is nothing if not leveraged. We want to make sure that you can leverage the knowledge that you're already acquiring. And for some of you, the one you already have already, how can you leverage it to attract more opportunities for yourself? That's what we're looking at today. Absolutely. Is there anything on? I can see more people on LinkedIn as well. If you're on LinkedIn, okay, let me start recording. I forgot about that. So the session is not being recorded. And if you're on LinkedIn, I can see you, at least I can see you on my mobile. If you can drop your comment in the chat or in the comment, I'll see it. I'll be able to read it out here. If you have questions, we'll be able to take your question. So I can see a few people on LinkedIn. We had over 300 people register on LinkedIn. So we'll see how many people actually join, right? And I can see people coming in gradually on Zoom as well. All right. Thank you for being here today. It's an absolute pleasure. I'm always happy to be here. And pardon me, it's night where I'm at right now. So in case I'm not, as it's not looking like the previous ones, but it should be fine. We should have so much fun today. But in case of anything, just pardon me. It's night. Maybe I'm a little bit sleepy, but we'll get there. We'll get it done. What has to be done has to be done. I hope you're as excited as I am. But before we go on, I know a number of people here, they know me, they've been on these sessions before. Some people are new. They don't know who I am. Why is this? One second. Okay, should be good now. So they don't know who I am. And in today's world, trust is scarce. If you don't know me, you don't know what I've done for myself. You don't know if what I'm saying is just me saying something I learned from YouTube somewhere, or something I've heard motivational speakers say. I said, let me come and dump it on YouTube. You will not believe anything you take out of this call today. But if you know that I'm not just saying what is not possible, I'm saying the things that what I have lived and I've done several times, I've helped others do, then you can believe that anything and everything is possible and anybody can achieve anything. Success is not about, it's not a betting game. It's not like life chooses people at random to be successful. There's a formula and there's a framework to how successful people move and how they achieve success, which is what we'll be talking about today. Now, who am I? For those that do not know me, you've seen my name. My name is Dr. Mukhtar Lasisi. A lot of people call me DML. But all of that doesn't count for anything. You don't know what I've done for myself. Now, I'm starting my journey from when I moved to Canada back in 2018. I already had my PhD, I already had years of experience behind me. But if anyone knows anything about Canada, all of that does not matter if you don't know how to leverage it. And yes, it didn't matter for me as well. I started from the ground up, initially 52K. I eventually landed an 85K job. And it felt good. It felt comfortable. I thought that was it. I was at the height of it. It felt comfortable. I didn't have a reason to look elsewhere because, again, 85K back then was reasonable. And I was fine until I wasn't. What happened? COVID happened. 2020. I'm sure everybody here remembers 2020. Most people lost their jobs. I was one of those. So the comfortable 85K suddenly became nothing. I became unemployed. And if there's anything we know, companies were also running scared. They didn't know what to do. They had to protect themselves, which was why they laid off so many people. They laid me off. There were no jobs to give. Even if I decided to, put my resume together and start applying to it, there were no jobs. I did something different. For those that were in the last session, you probably remember what I did. I wasn't applying to jobs. I started positioning myself as a solution to the problems that companies were facing at the time, which was really survival. How do we survive this pandemic? Something we have never seen before. How do we survive this? I started positioning myself as the person that can solve the most critical problem at that time, which was survival. I started a podcast. I did, excuse me. I started a podcast. I started talking to some businesses individually, doing proof of concept, a number of things, and then something happened. Within a few months, I moved from, that person that was earning 85K that went unemployed to landing a 170K project with a company that needed exactly what I was preaching. Someone said, no, maybe that didn't happen. It did happen. It's my wife here. My wife is here to attest to that. It did happen, and it didn't happen by mistake. This is a framework I knew before COVID. I just had to go dig it up, and I started using it. And then it worked because it had worked for me before. It worked for me then, even in the toughest of times. I've had to repeat it time and time and time again. Now, what changed? Like I said, I wasn't applying to jobs. I started positioning myself as a solution to the problem. The same framework I've used for many years, that I used during COVID, that I've used since then, that I've actually used to build my business to a multiple six-figure business, is the same thing I would show you today. I'll show you how. And there's a reason we'll be showing this year, every 2 weeks. This year is because I know now that this thing doesn't come easy for everybody. I used to think that, like, a lot of times I'll tell people exactly what to do and all of that, especially around this framework. They will say, oh yeah, I understand. And then they will never do it. I say, okay, it should be simple enough. And then I realized that, okay, it's actually the fact that it comes easy for me, or the fact that I've done it for many years and it seems easy, doesn't mean it's easy for everybody. So we'll do a lot of reinforcement this year to make sure that as many people as possible can succeed using this framework. And there's a reason this framework is important at this period, because the world of work is changing. AI is changing everything, and we'll get there in a minute. Excuse. Oh yeah, okay. I'm seeing a message from Valentine. You need a mentor. You want to walk away. You don't want to walk away with a great job. I believe that's what you mean, right? And Olufemi, ma'am, it's good to have you here. Right. So let's get into what the real problem is and why certain people get stuck. We'll start from there. One thing I've learned, as I was explaining earlier, is that people don't fail because of what they don't know. In fact, the framework I will talk about today, that I'll actually show you in action, show you why it has worked for me, how it's currently working for me to help me build my business. And I think there's someone in the audience, I hope she's ready to show she just did a sample and the results she has seen within a week. She would also show us that. Now, it's not the first time I'm teaching this, and it's not the first time I'm telling people how this works. But what I've learned over time, especially in the last 3+ years, is that people don't fail because of what they don't know. They fail because of what they know, but they won't do. Or maybe they don't know how to do, or some would even pretend that they are doing it, but they're not actually doing it. Or they feel like they're doing it, but they're not actually doing it. That is the problem I see with a lot of people. Some of these things you would have heard before in bits and pieces. Maybe nobody has put it together the way I put it together today, but you must have heard of them from some motivational speaker somewhere, from someone, from a career coach or something before. But most people will not do it. And at the point, some or others would just accept, or they're waiting for acceptance. What would someone else say? What would the other person say? And the question I always ask people when they say that is, does that person pay your bill? If the answer is no, why should you care what someone else says? And like what someone else would say, maybe at the extreme, say, would that person be at your burial if you die today? If the answer is no, and which most people will not be, right? If the answer is no, why do you care about what they think of you? But at the end of the day, who will you be answerable to? Yourself. So why should you care what someone else thinks? So if you're waiting for acceptance, or you're thinking, if I do certain things, people would reject me. Okay. What if you don't try? You will never know, right? Now let's talk about, so this is the problem on a general note that I see, but let's talk about this very smart people that we're here to talk about today. This smart professionals that have been able to build their career to a point where they're earning 85K to 140K, some 60K. It's not because they're not trying, they've just been stuck at that point. The biggest problem with these people, it doesn't matter what your title says, as you heard, those that joined earlier, you heard that leadership doesn't come with title. It comes from here, mindset. Right. So your title can be manager, your title can be senior manager. If you're not perceived as a leader, contributes to the bigger goal, now not just a doer. If you're not seen as someone that is contributing at the highest level, you will be stuck down here, 85 to 140K, probably lower than 85K. But now, this is not about how much work you do, interestingly enough. It's not about go on and do more work. No. You can be the hardest worker and you can be the lowest paid. What shifts the things in your favor? It's pure perception. Most of the time, it has nothing to do with what you've done. It has nothing to do with how much of actual work you've done. I'm sure some of us have been in teams where someone that seems to be, in quote, the laziest on the team keeps getting moved up, keeps getting all the promotions, everything. And you're wondering, but I work harder. I'm the one that actually does all the work. Well, that person is perceived differently than you. I I had again the same my 85K job. I remember when I joined, I met a very brilliant person on that job. At the time, it was 10K. It was only 10K less than I was than I came into the company with. And it didn't make sense to me. It was already at the company like 3 years or 4 years before I joined. It didn't make sense to me at the time. Why would I be coming new and I'm earning 10K more than this person? At a point, of course, we were friends, so we discussed pay, and then he pushed for an increase. They still didn't give him 85K. They bumped it up by like 5K to 80K. Was older, was more experienced, and all of that. But there's a difference. And interestingly enough, he was doing everything. He would go to the camps, he would travel, he would do everything. I was only working on a few projects, but I was earning more because I was brought in with a perception that I would contribute more to the bigger goals. And yes, they would bring the more business critical projects to me to lead, not to work on. So it will be on my team working on certain projects. We do assessments and all of that. Right. So can we go on mute, please? Okay, thank you. The difference between a person earning 60, 80, 140K and 150K upwards is perception of ownership. How much risk can you own on behalf of the company? I'll put it this way. So, and this happens in business and in career. Someone said, if you solve $1 billion problem, you're guaranteed to be a millionaire if you know how to leverage it. The same way, if you solve a multi-million-dollar problem, you will likely make multiple six figures or seven figures. If you solve a multiple six-figure problem, you will do six figures or multiple six figures. Now, you need to know how to leverage this. Leverage is critical. You need to know how to leverage what you've done and the impact you have made. I will also give another reason why these people are different. People earning 85 to 140K, you would see when you see their profile, you would know it. It's always very obvious. They talk about what they've done or what they do. You would know it. Like it's always very obvious. You see, the people at this level, they don't talk about what they do. They talk about the impact they have made. They talk about the problems they have solved. They talk about and that's it's more about the magnitude of the impact they've made to an organization, to the world. And that's the way the world will perceive them from that moment. You can be doing the same thing. Your job can be customer service. You can be doing customer service on this end, but for you, you're just helping businesses. But for the person that will be perceived differently, they know that they're contributing to the company's whatever $1 million that company wants to achieve that year. They're contributing to it by making sure that the customers are happy. Think in the big picture. That's the biggest part of this move. Now, some people know this, or now that you know it, this is also another reason people fail at trying to move forward. So many people, and I'm sure quite a number of people here, you've tried, maybe it hasn't just worked out to make that move, to make that jump, but you're just seems like you're stuck. One thing I also see with people is we like to chase every shiny new object, called the shiny object syndrome. I've seen people try to get into BA. They try for a little bit. Oh, it's not working. They jump into Scrum Master. Oh, it's not working. Now it's cybersecurity. It's not working. Now it's AI. Now they're learning AI engineering. Oh, that's. Do you know what happens when you do that? Every time you jump on something new, you're starting over. You're pressing reset. It means you will never be a master of anything. And if you hit it on one, maybe that's where luck comes in. I don't believe luck happens like that, I believe you can make your own luck. Because if you're prepared and you're ready, then the luck will be made. But if you're jumping around like that on every new thing without having a purpose and knowing why you're doing the things you're doing, or leveraging the other things you've had before, you will not progress. You will be stuck. Because that jumping on trying new things would lead to inconsistency. And if there's anything I know about life and success, is that success compounds over time. You will master the thing you're doing. You will master, if you do it long enough, you will master it so much that the success you will see from it will just, again, it will keep compound depending on what you're looking for. So yes, success does compound when you're consistent. But when you're jumping on every new thing, you will be so inconsistent. And there's something they say, and there's a way that people would see you, because you will not be a master of anything. And when you're not a master of anything, you will probably fail or do some things shabbily. And they say how you do one thing is how you do everything. It may not be true, but that's how the world will see you. So they will see you as that leader that understands a certain field and solves bigger problems within that space. The other problem is not having a feedback loop. And I see this a lot, even in our program, and I always shout and make a lot of noise. People in our program will attest to that, make a lot of noise on it. There's a difference between doing so much and getting so much done. You can be doing a lot of work, working so hard, at least to yourself, and you're like, but nothing is moving. And nothing I'm doing is actually moving the needle. The problem most of the time is that you are putting your effort on the wrong things. Sometimes you don't have to work hard, you just have to work smart. But the only way you know that, and I'll give examples, the only way you know that is if you have a feedback loop and you check in on yourself and say, what am I doing right now to get where I need to get to? Is this exactly, how has that helped me progress? How much progress have I made? If you're being sincere with yourself, you will pick that up very fast. And once you pick that up, you will be, if you're sincere enough with yourself, you'll be able to hold yourself accountable for your progress. And you can then take the right steps forward or ask for help in terms of knowing exactly what the next steps forward should be. Now, an example of someone that will be doing so much and not getting so much done, and there's so many people, especially in tech, is someone that will be pursuing every certification around. Security Plus, CISM, CISSP, CSAT, CDAT. And I know it's not the first time you hear this. Certifications do not give jobs. Is there a different way I can say it? I've said it too many times, and I feel like I need a megaphone now. Certifications do not give jobs. You don't need to pack all the certifications in the world to get a job. If what you're looking for is to take the next steps in your life and progress, stop packing certifications, because it wouldn't move the needle for you. I've seen people spend 3 months preparing for certifications, and you're asking, what are you doing in terms of getting the opportunities you need? No, once I pass the certification, I'll be ready. No, you will not be ready. You will not be ready, because you will still feel like you need more. You will still not feel like it's enough. You will still need more. That is an example of someone that is doing so much, but not getting so much done, because you're not actually taking the action that will move you forward. And if you don't have a feedback loop, it will be hard for you to know. And without that, you cannot hold yourself accountable and say, nah, enough of this. Let me actually do what moves the needle. Now, before we go forward, I just want to share an example. And the reason I want to share this, and again, I don't have his picture, I would have loved to show his face, but it's an interesting story of Adewale. We worked with him, it was late 2023 into 2024. And the reason I'm sharing this is, to show the difference. That you can be doing the same thing and your story can change so fast. When we worked with him, it was late 2023, he had a job as a compliance officer. He was already doing tech compliance, like more like a cybersecurity compliance person, tech compliance person. He was earning 55K thereabouts back then. When when he joined us, when we had a conversation, which is a similar conversation I have with a lot of people before they join us, I told him straight up that, you will lose your job in a month. And it was like, why would you say that? You're asking me to pay this kind of money for us to work together. But you're saying the same job that is at least feeding me now, I'll lose it in the next 1 month. Yes, you will, unfortunately. And that's the thing, we'll tell you the truth. Right? Unfortunately, you will. The problem is if you don't take action now, there is no guarantee that you will get another job. Or again, a 55K job for a compliance officer is for me is a no-no. That's not a starting point for a compliance officer at all. And this guy, talk of this guy with years of experience. So he joined us and he did lose his job, like I said he would, because the handwriting was on the wall. But what he realized quickly as soon as he joined us and we started working together was the fact that he was positioning himself wrong. He was positioning himself wrong, and that's why they would come to him with jobs like this. And that's why it would even be tough for him to find a job. But the moment that switch happened, and you can see from what he said, again, it was in a desperate place. He started negotiating a 90K job, a 110K job. Of course, he picked the higher one. We'll make sure that you pick the best one for you. He picked the higher one, but I can tell you that since then, he has moved to even bigger things. He's doing well over 160K as we speak. That's how your story can change once you know the value of what you have. Am I making sense? Is there someone here with me today? You can give me thumbs up if you're here or something. You don't have to unmute. Okay, see comment in the chat. Yes, thank you. Right. So that's how fast, thank you. Yeah, everybody's here with me. I appreciate that. So that's how fast your story can change. And you can read from the testimonial. Remember, he joined us end of 2023, lost his job January 2024, got these offers February 2024. We need a space of 8 weeks because that's how fast that switch can happen. Once it starts from here, from your mindset. Once that first shift happens, the rest would take shape. But I've seen people as well, and I'll point this out here. I've seen people that refuse to make that switch because they can't come to terms with it up here. And it's hard. You know what I said earlier? That people that know exactly what to do but wouldn't do it, or some would pretend to be doing it but will not do it. To an extent, I think I know why. Some of us, we are more scared of what if we achieve the success we want to achieve. We are more scared of that than the fear of failure. And sometimes we frame that as a fear of failure. What if I don't get it? But the main problem is, what if I get it? We had a person who was going through the program. Everybody was getting calls. It wasn't. I think it was still 2023 back then. It wasn't. And I said to him, if you be sincere with yourself and be honest with yourself, when your phone rings these days, are you ever scared that it might be a recruiter or it might be HR from a company? He said, yes, I'm always scared when my phone rings. I said, yes. That's the problem. You're scared that what if this works? And that's the problem. You don't want it. If you want it, it will work out. If you can switch that and actually get excited about the opportunity to speak about what you know, to say, I even want to get this call to speak about what I know and what I can do and show the confidence and my expertise, things will work out. And it did. And I don't know if there's someone here who remembers the story. And within a week, he started getting interviews. This guy refers, I can't count how many people to us now. Started getting interviews. Within another 3 weeks, he landed his job. He has kept that job. Now, That's probably not what I would recommend, but we all have our ways and we all have our definitions of success. But he landed the job. He's still doing the job many years later. But again, that's not what we're here. Now let's talk briefly about why we said AI and cybersecurity. Why, when we know that some people here are not even doing cybersecurity or AI yet. And then I talked earlier about jumping on every shiny new thing, not being a good thing. Cybersecurity and AI, they're not new. If you're already in tech, risk, or compliance, this field is not new to you, whether you know it or not. I'm telling you that now. Every single person, irrespective of your background, AI will touch your job. That's why you need to know AI. Even within your domain area, you need to know how to manage AI at the minimum, because there's a regulatory requirement that requires companies to have domain experts while they're training models, even while the AI is in operation. There must be a domain expert. So if you are that domain expert that understands how to manage AI, so you're building on top of what you know, you're not learning anything net new. That is solid for you. Now, if anybody understands cybersecurity, or I should call it information security, you will know that what we do is that we manage technology risks or information risk. AI houses information. It doesn't matter what your field is, you work with information. Information risk is what we manage in information security. AI houses information. You know how to manage AI within your domain. That's why this is critical. And the news from yesterday, if anybody saw it, Deloitte, they're changing all job titles across over 180 employees that they have because of AI. I don't know what that would look like. It's coming out in June this year. I don't know what that would look like, but they specifically said all job titles are changing because of AI. What does that tell us? That we cannot escape AI. So the earlier we start learning it, the earlier we add it to what we do, whatever we do right now, the better for us. So roles are definitely collapsing because of AI. AI and security literacy will become a baseline because you cannot use AI and manage AI without knowing security. They go hand in hand. And if you can manage AI and all of that, governance risk would explode. It's already exploding. It's already exploding. There's so many roles. If any of you have downloaded my I can't remember the ultimate guide to 300K opportunities, 150 to 300K opportunities, you would see the roles there. But there's so many roles, even traditional roles that titles we know. If you look at the job description now, they're all having AI components in it. And they're not asking you to be an AI engineer. They're not asking you to be a prompt engineer. They're asking you to understand how AI works and understand how you can manage AI responsibly. That's what they're looking for. That's why we're emphasizing that if you want to position yourself for higher opportunities in today's world, 2026 upwards, you need to position yourself as a leader, even within your domain, but as a leader that understands how to manage security and AI. Now, positioning alone is not. So the beauty of it, like I said before, if you're in tech, risk or compliance, you don't have to start over. It's not a shiny new thing that you dump everything else and take it on. It will be an add-on. What a lot of our people, when they start the program, what they realize is they get a lot of haha moments. A lot of haha moments in the sense that they would find things that they're already doing on their job. Oh, this is why we do this. This is why we do that. So it would help you do your job better, and you can have better conversations with your team around security to say, oh, maybe we shouldn't be doing this because these are the risks. You see why it's not net new? You can apply it immediately. You're adding more knowledge that will help you do your job better and help people perceive you different. Remember what we talked about perception. When you're perceived as a leader, you command different respect and you command different kind of opportunities. So this would help you position you like that, even in your current job. Is anyone with me? Now, it's easy to talk about all of these things. Experience is leverage, if framed right, all of these things. The question is how. And that's what we want to talk about. So I want to introduce that framework that I've said I've used for many years, that I still use today, and I'll show it in action, that I still use today. And I recommend every single one of you use. Some of you, you've seen it before. We'll go deeper into how it works today, especially on the proof and visibility side of it. I'll show you how it has worked from just to prove that it does work. And it worked before the days of AI. It's working today, even in a different country, like I mentioned earlier. It's night where I'm at. I know it's morning or noon for most of you. It's night where I'm at. It's a different country. It's a different terrain. It still works here. So it works. It doesn't matter where you are in the world. It works. And the framework I'm talking about is this: the CPV, capability, proof, and visibility. Your capability building is the expertise you're adding to yourself, is the learnings, the trainings, the work, the different components that is helping you build your capacity to do certain things. That can be security, that can be AI, that can be whatever else your field is, but that thing that helps build your expertise to say, I'm an expert at this. I can confidently do that. This is how I add value to a company. This is how I can add value to a certain initiative. That is what capability building is. Capability building doesn't mean certification training. No, it is the learnings and everything related to it that comes together to form your expertise in a certain area. That's what capability building means. Now, the proof part of it is the proof that, yeah, you can. I know you've learned. I know you have you've told me you have the expertise. I want to see the proof. I want to see the proof that you've done it before. That's how I can say, if you've done it before and you've made a certain level of impact, I can trust you with mine. If you have a car, you not give your car to an aspiring mechanic. If you have a broken washroom, you will not give it to an intern plumber. Am I right or wrong? You would give it to an expert, even if that expert is just on paper. Hopefully, they can show you proof that they've done the work before and you can believe them, right? That's the place of proof. Now, the biggest part of it is visibility. You can have capability, you can have proof, but if you're not visible, if you're not positioned for the right opportunities, nobody will see you and you'll make very little money and you will not attract those bigger opportunities. And this, like I said, even in the dip of COVID, I had projects where they're begging me to leave one project for another. And as you saw earlier, consistently, and we've not looked back since then, even as early as 2022, we were making over 50,000 every month working on projects. And we've never had a marketing team. We've never had a sales team selling for us. It's just opportunities coming to us without even asking. That's how beautiful this is. What some people would have seen in the market right now is that, and you've probably seen this on LinkedIn. For those of you that are on LinkedIn, most of you are probably on LinkedIn. Well, some people would say, I've been looking for a job for 2 years, and then they put the open to work on their thing. You know what usually happens with those people? They get a lot of comments and that, but nobody actually says, come, let me give you a job. Because nobody offers jobs by pity. I'm running a company. I want to make profit. I want to bring people that can contribute to me achieving my goal as a business. That's what every company does. So nobody will hire you because you're looking for a job, right? What you'd also see is that you're applying to a lot of jobs. You're probably not hearing back because AI, fortunately or unfortunately, is weeding out even solid candidates, even candidates that are more qualified than you. They're getting weeded out by AI, by the ATS. What do you need to do? You need to stand out beyond the ATS. And the only way you can do that is through visibility, which I'll show you in a moment. You don't have to go online and start making noise or dancing on TikTok or Instagram. That maybe you want to become a celebrity, I don't know, or become an influencer, I don't know. But if what you're looking for is to build a career, that's not what you need. You need to start having the right conversations. with the right people. Visibility can help you do that. Now, this is someone else. This is Thomas. Thomas, I can't remember the exact year he joined us. I think it was, I can't remember. But Thomas was an IT project manager working with the government. He had done, I spent several years there. Very senior guy, but he wouldn't, again, he wouldn't move up the ladder. Nothing was moving for him. And we worked together. And you can see that within, I believe it was 8 weeks too, he landed an opportunity as a deputy CISO. Now, what we realized in his own case is, okay, they had already seen him a certain way. And no matter what he did, he couldn't change the narrative. So what he did was, he decided to move elsewhere, look at opportunities elsewhere, even within the government. And you know the interesting thing, which is an interesting thing with perception, it wasn't seen as, it's just an ITPM. He got a deputy CISO role within the government in a different settings entirely. That's how perception can move things for you. Now, we've seen that, okay, we've seen people that have done this, it works for them, and all of that. Why do people not do it? I've talked about a lot, and people that are in our program and that were in our program, they will know that I've talked about this before. Why do people not do it? Or what's the problem? The problem is that I'm having this conversation now. Some of us are probably motivated to start taking action, start saying, what do I need to do? How do I do it? I want to start doing it right away. The problem is, by the time we come back here in 2 weeks, very few people would have done anything. Because you can get motivated immediately, but continuity and consistency is hard. But when you have a system in place that makes it work, you can predict your success and you can see how you're progressing and you can give yourself that feedback loop and hold yourself accountable to actually do the right things that move the needle. Now, I said I want to show you. Now, I'll stop sharing for a moment and share again so that I can share the right thing and not just anything else that you're not supposed to see. So, about 1 moment. Let me do that. Let me know once you can see my screen, please. A thumbs up will do once you can see it. Okay, I'm sharing the wrong one. Let me share the screen. So, yeah. Okay. Can anyone else see it? I see Celia can say thank you. Can anyone else see my screen here? Can anyone see my screen? So, I just want to make sure that okay. Now, for those that are wondering, and again, it doesn't matter. I'm in a different country. I'm not in Canada right now. And one thing I can tell you is that, and I just switched the screen, I'll go back to it. One thing I can tell you is that 3 weeks, 4 weeks ago, I didn't know a single person in this country. Remember, 3, 4 weeks ago, I did not know a single person in this country. And in the last 1 week, I've had at least 6 meetings with top people, brilliant minds, leaders that are moving mountains in this country. I've had meetings with people I would probably not have dreamt of meeting, especially in a country that I didn't know anybody in about 3 weeks ago. How did I do that? The same framework we're talking about, positioning. And I'll tell you, I'll show you. Sometimes you wait for opportunities to come to you. Sometimes you go and find the opportunities. And I'll show you. you look at this person, you can probably see his title here. And you see when we started chatting, January 12th. Today is January 24th. Started chatting January 12th, and I can tell you that we've had a meeting, we've talked on the phone, we've exchanged numbers. This is a top person. And we're already having meaningful conversations. And you can see, I'll just go down. I'll show you other people as well. See, we've had a meeting. It was a beautiful meeting. It's going to introduce me to other people, right? And again, the snowball starts and the connection starts. What do you think will happen from there? Opportunities will flow because these people are not seeing me as he's looking for a job or he's looking for a project. He's bringing opportunities to us, opportunity for them to achieve their goal. I'm not there to ask for a job. They don't have a job to give. Really, nobody has a job to give. I'll just show one more. And every single person I've connected with on LinkedIn, we've exchanged numbers and we're having meaningful conversations that would move not just me forward, would move them forward because I'm adding value to them. Now, the reason I'm showing you this, and I shouldn't show, I'll just show this real quick, not show too much because there's a bit of sensitive information there. And this came in the form of, oh, I applied to a job with you because this is a high intent person that was actually hiring for something. And again, I can't show you the details of the conversation, but you realize that once we met, the conversation quickly went away from, I'm looking for a job, to something different. And we still had a chat tonight. We're meeting again. We met this week, we're meeting again next week. You realize that all these people I'm showing, they're in the same location. But I wouldn't show too much because of the sensitivity of some of this conversation. I thought I'll be able to show a lot of it, but I will go back to the slide and tell you exactly what I did and how I did it. To go from not knowing anyone in the country to having meaningful conversations with the power that be. 1 second. Okay. Okay. You should be seeing my screen now, right? What are you seeing? Let me know. Okay, I think I'm sharing the wrong one. Okay, this is acting up today.
I think that was where you left off.
Okay, so I'm sharing the right one now. Okay, perfect. So what did I do? Some of you here, you're here today because you saw me on LinkedIn. You've seen my posts. And to an extent, it resonated with you. And you said, let me join this guy and hear what he's got to say. Am I right? The same way.
Right.
Thank you, Pascal. Now, the same way, these other people that I've connected with now, that we're now building solid relationships that I know, would lead to projects, because that's the nature of what I do, that would bring a lot of value to them and a lot of value to my business. They are seeing my posts too, the ones that relate to them. These are not people that would ideally comment or like or do things. But when I reach out to them, because I have a solid profile, I'm active, they see me that I'm visible, I'm showing the proof of some of the work I have done that relates to them. When I reach out to them, it is for them to go and check the profile and say, oh yes, this is a solid thing, I want to talk to him. Then, and there's something I always say about visibility without capability is nothing, it's zero, because it's just another missed opportunity. So when we now get to talk or we're chatting, they can sense from our chat that there's something here. There's something here. Now, that's the only reason a busy executive would want to sit down on a call with me. Right? They're busy. They have so much they're doing with the time. If they don't feel like there's something there, they will not agree to sit down and have a chat with me. Their time is precious. 1 hour of their time is no joke. to spend with some guy that is just going to come and ask them for a job. They wouldn't do it. So it's because there's something there, right? Now, because when we now sit down to have that conversation, it goes away. Those kind of conversations is what I call, and what we call in our program, informal interviews. And I tell people, you make more money from informal interviews than you would ever make from formal interviews. Because deals get made when you have those conversations, meaningful conversations. You connect at the personal level, you connect at this is what I'm bringing to the table for you. This is they share their problem with you. You give them a solution framework. And let's now say you are looking for a job. When a job comes, in some cases, they would even go and create a position for you because you've shown them that you can solve a problem. And you're dictating how much you're taking for it. I've seen this play out a lot. I've told a lot of stories about my how I got my position with Deloitte. It was like that. It was like that. I never interviewed with Deloitte. And several other ones like that. But again, that's the most popular that would resonate with everybody. That's why I keep mentioning it. But you can see, at least I've shown you two. I wish I can show more, but then I realized immediately as soon as I started sharing that there's a lot of sensitive information there that I can't share. But then, if you're there and you're able to share your screen, I would allow you to share.
Okay.
I want you to show, I think you mentioned to me earlier, it was yesterday, right?
Yeah.
I want you to show and tell us what happened, how you happen to do what you did, and the result you're saying. So let me stop sharing. So yeah. I didn't even know about this until yesterday afternoon, very late yesterday. So, the demo I did for the class, this is what I'm saying, and it happens that fast. And you saw with the other person, it was January 12th, so January 24th, we've had meetings. Some people that I connected with in December, we're having meetings already. Several meetings lined up. So please go ahead and show us.
So can you see my screen, everyone? Okay, so this is my LinkedIn profile. So I was trying to do a demo to find out if this strategy actually works, this framework rather. So the whole idea is to track your applications and make you apply strategically. So I decided to make an application. I wasn't even ready for that job. I just said, let me make application. So I go to my jobs. I've already made the application, so that I'm showing you applied. So it's applied already. And it's this particular role, senior consultant, governance, risks, and compliance services. So you can see that application is they are no longer accepting. So after that application was made, if you go down, especially from LinkedIn, it will tell you people you can reach out. So, and he came up with these 3 persons. So these are the 3 persons he showed me. So I needed to message them.
Can you pause? Okay. Can you remind me the logic behind applying strategically? I like that you mentioned it. I was going to mention it, but now that you mentioned it, can you tell us and you said LinkedIn showed 3 people you can reach out to. And if you remember, the logic for applying strategically is when you apply to one job, how many people should you reach out to?
3 persons.
Correct. But LinkedIn already gave you 3 people to reach out to. Please go ahead.
So if you're doing it and it's just one person, you have to go into the organization and search for at least 3 persons. So I'm going to also tell you that even these 3 persons, from all what I have done, they let me know what I need to do. Even if they are not going to help you, they will tell you what you need to do. So that's it.
I'd also add that the interesting thing is, if a person gets an interview for this role, there's a very high chance that at least one of those 2 people will be on the interview panel. Eventually, they might be pulled into it. Now, at that point, you already established a relationship.
Yes.
It becomes less of an interview. Please go ahead.
Okay, so the framework, I'll go straight to the framework. So I was introduced to this framework. That's the career engine.
That's our career engine that people in our program use. So it's only people in our program that can use this. Well, go ahead.
So we all make applications all the time, but we don't track it. We just do it at a point you get tired. You are not, following any rules, process, or there's no reminders to even tell you just like when you are doing social media and you have some tasks to accomplish. So this is going to make you like a lifestyle. You now know the tasks you need to accomplish, and you're expected to just apply for only 10 per week. 10 per week. You can share it twice a day, 2 jobs per day. And when you do it that way, there is no how. You won't get, we're just looking for 1 yes. And then you have a lot of things to do to make sure you get that yes. And like I said, it's strategic because you are taking your time to do what you expected of you. So I'll come and so it's on this, I'll click this plus sign to create. So I've already added. See, this is the row. So when I added the row, these things came up. So let's go to follow up. That was where I have to follow up with them. And this follow-up said 4 times. I have to follow up 4 times by each person.
In case they don't respond, yeah.
So follow up in case they didn't respond, yeah. So I have done twice. What happened? Okay, let's go to this person. Raj, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's go
Yeah.
to him on LinkedIn. Okay, that's him.
Okay. Yes.
So I sent him a message that day. That was at 6:29 p.m. He responded
Can
as
we see the date?
he responded at
Can you go up?
6:52.
Today.
That
So you
same day.
responded almost immediately.
Yes,
Exactly. Okay.
that same day.
Okay.
Hi, Euphemia. Thanks. Great. Happy to connect.
Mm-hmm.
Immediately. And this is something that maybe you send the application and you forget it. Whenever there
And
is,
nobody
you are not in
sees it.
charge. This time around, you're going to be in charge of it. So because he didn't say anything, I did the second follow-up. And he now said, hey, I do not have visibility. He now told me that he's not connected to that. For that role at that point. I'm largely into tech assurance and not GRC. So he's telling me where he is. And I now, thank him for that. So that's for him. Then the next person is
I'll just say something about that. So for that, very good job with that. To follow up on that, because what you're looking for is genuine relationship, not just transactional. You probably want to follow up with something nice and that would just, even if possible, request an opportunity to connect. You're not asking him for a job anymore.
again,
You're
yeah.
just trying to connect with a leader in the industry. You never know. He's a leader in the industry. Something can pop up on his team at a point, and he would remember you. Oh, I spoke with this very smart person. She'll be a great fit for this. So that'll be my recommendation for this one. But great job with the 2 follow-ups.
Okay.
So instead of just closing that chapter, I would, if I were to do it, I would take it a step further.
Okay. So for this, he told me that he's on leave. Okay, so let's.
Okay, exactly.
He's on sabbatical.
Now you see how many people you now know within the company.
Yes.
2 people that are actually communicating with you. And the interesting thing with this is people apply to jobs. They apply to 50 jobs, 100 jobs, 200 jobs. They don't hear back.
Yeah.
This is one application. 2 people responded to you. That's how fast this works. And you've all seen it on my end as well. How many people have responded that have led to meetings and all of that? The difference is that I'm doing it at a larger scale. I'm sending out about 600 connections per month because I need several yeses every month as a business. You, as an individual, just trying to take the next steps in your career, all you need is 1 year. For some people, 1 year and 3 years. That's what I would recommend if you're not looking to stack the deck in your favor in a certain way. But it's 1 year and 3 years, not 1 year and 5 years. No one asks you to stay on the job for half a decade. Not in this day and age anymore, right? You need 1 year, and you can see how fast this works. Why won't you do it? Please go ahead.
So for Fazion, he said he's currently on sabbatical and doesn't have access to company resources, but I can reach out to the hiring manager. That's the HR.
Look at that.
Giving me information on what I need.
Look at that.
So that's it.
Look at that.
In fact, all of them responded. This person also responded.
Yeah, I actually know him personally.
Okay.
Yeah, he used to be a coach in our program. Yeah, he's a great guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
He responded. Okay. It's not on my line, and the company I have not influenced. Okay, this one just told me. I said, okay, no problem. At least
Yeah.
I got the feedback I needed, and which
But
means it works.
if exactly now, if this were to be one of them were to be the hiring manager, you would get the audience.
Yes. So that's my
Exactly.
idea with that.
So you now do that for 10 jobs every week, which means by the time you're doing second week, third week, you would have a lot of traction and you're not waiting months to get feedback on your application. You are not also not waiting for 8 years to determine your fate when you apply to a job. You are immunizing yourself. And you know why this works so well now, these days, even beyond it used to work, it has always worked, but it works more now because with AI, there's so many fakes. Companies are now valuing human touch more. Companies people want to connect with people. They will tell you in business, people buy people. And it's the same thing. With so much automation now, there's less connection, there's less interaction. But now people value that more. So when you reach out genuinely and they can feel the genuinity in how you have reached out, they want to connect. But that's not to say every single person would connect with you. But yes, people want to connect with people. That's why you stand a better chance, a higher chance than someone that is just throwing out application randomly. You're muted. You're muted.
Add to that, when you're connecting, make sure that your LinkedIn profile is good to go, because they're going to go back to check who is connecting and to see if it's something that they can have a take on. So let's also look at LinkedIn. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for showing that, and I appreciate that you were able to see that from you and not just from my point of view, because if I start to show mine, people will feel overwhelmed because I'm doing it at a different scale. I have a system that does it for me. You don't need that tool. It wouldn't do anything for you. But what you need is exactly what she has shown you. And that's how it works. Your visibility is critical, but you cannot be visible if you don't have the capability and you don't have proof of work, because that's what the world wants to see. Now, you need to have a profile that speaks to impact, not job duties. If you're putting job duties, they would reach out to you for all sorts of jobs. But if it speaks to the impact you have made, not your job, again, job title, you would have to put a relevant job title. But what they care about the most is the impact you have made. That's your proof of work. When they see a profile that looks solid, a lot of the time they want to connect with you. If you are trying to connect and you have open to work, aspiring this, future that, nobody would connect with you. So have the capability, have your proof of work, have a strong profile that helps you with your visibility. Now, like I mentioned, in the last 3 years, I've seen that it's easier said than done, which is the reason I've made it up, because I want just as many people as possible succeed this year. And I understand certain people can do this themselves. That's why every 2 weeks, we'll come here, we'll go deeper into how this works, because we want to make sure that people can do it. We want to make sure that we are reinforcing what works and see as many people as possible succeed. There are so many jobs out there. I don't know who has checked the job market. There are thousands of jobs out there. One of them is for you. And you don't even have to go for traditional jobs. There are thousands of opportunities, some that have not been published. But with the right relationships, you will unlock opportunities for yourself. That's why we'll come here every 2 weeks to go deeper into this, to make sure that you are not just motivated one time, you can consistently do it. Because consistency compounds success. Like I said, success compounds over time. Now, for those that are like, okay, I hear you, but I need help. I need help getting this done. I need help taking my next step. I need guidance. I need mentorship. That's what we do. That's the core of what we do. These are our free sessions. We give this information out free so that people can execute as much as they want. But if you want our help and you want us to help you actually put this framework together, work with you to put this framework together and make sure that you're accountable, you have a feedback loop, and you're doing everything right. There's no guesswork. That's what we do. We will make sure that we make sure you build your AI and security capability on top of what you already have. You would leverage what you already have to position yourself as a leader within the AI and security space. Because you will learn by doing, and you work on projects, you will have your proof of work that you can continue to showcase on LinkedIn and other places as part of your portfolio when you're talking about testimonials. Because 3 things you have to talk about when you're posting, at least 3 times a week, is your personal story, how you got here, because which will bring the legitimacy. People trust you like that. Your proof of work, that's your testimonial, showing that you have done this before. You're not just making it up. And the third one is contributing to industry virality. So you will have to do that every week. The beauty of it is our career engine would make sure that it's not guesswork. Just tell it what you want to post about. It will generate a post that works, a solid post that can go viral for you. What you're chasing is not virality. What you're chasing is being seen by the right people. And that's why you have to layer on it, which is part of what we have in the engine. Reach out to a certain number of people every week, apply to a certain number of jobs every week, connect with a certain number of people related to those jobs every time, and then do your follow-ups, which all of this you wouldn't have to figure out yourself. If you work with us, we would exactly guide you through how to do that. Because what we want is not for you to get one job, it's for you to, for your success to compound over time, for opportunities to keep coming to you even when you don't need them, because you never know when the big one would show up. And I know that for sure because that's how I built my business. I wasn't planning on building a big business when I built it. It was because opportunities kept coming. I just couldn't start. So I just couldn't say no to them. I'm not that kind of person. I tell people, treat your career like a business. And I did. And it actually became a business for me. Remember that this is not a boot camp. We don't do boot camps. What we're doing with you, we're working with you to build your leadership expertise in security and AI, which you would add to whatever domain you're in right now. We want to make sure that you shorten the time to success. We want to make sure that if you do the right things, you can be sure that you will succeed in a very short period of time without the guesswork. Make sure that you reduce how much mistakes you're making. You're not just sending out random resumes, you're using the right profile and everything works, everything compounds for you in the right direction. You're stacking the deck in your favor. I want to make sure that you can be consistent. You're not jumping on every shiny new thing. Like people that have gone through our program will tell you, we follow up with them from time to time because we want to make sure that you're still on the right track. Again, we're adults. We can't hold you by the neck and say you must do it, but we'll do our best to make sure that we're holding you accountable for your own sake, because your success is our success too. Now, there are 2 ways you can join us if you want to work with us. Like I said, you can take what you've learned today, go start implementing it. We'll come back next 2 weeks. We'll go deeper and we'll show you the next steps and what have you. But if you want to work with us, these are the 2 ways you can work with us. You can join our standard program where you would learn cybersecurity or information security. You will learn risk management. You will learn AI risk as well. And you build your capability around that. And then you would get a full framework, a full roadmap of the direction your career should go from here on. Again, this should cost between 2,500, 3,000, 1,200 or 2,000. Then you build a portfolio of projects. This you wouldn't get from a college or anywhere. No boot camp does this. You would have a portfolio of projects every 2 months, and you would present this project to industry leaders to boost your capability, to boost your confidence as well, to know that you've done the right things. So you would do that, and every other month you would also present, even beyond the 12 weeks. Now we'll work with you to build your profile. Remember what we said about profile, to build up your LinkedIn profile so that it is solid and it can attract opportunities. Now, that's the only time you can start doing the reach outs and the other components of the positioning that will bring opportunities to you. If you don't have that, it's hard. So we'll work with you to make sure that you're not just guessing through it. And because you're here, one thing we're also doing, and we'll probably, I don't know for how long, but we're also doing is you would have 1-year access, not just to our Leadership Hub community, but to the career engine that was shown earlier. That we can stop at any time because it costs money. Because even to join the hub is $950 per year. You'd have access to it for 1 year. on top of that, you would have access to the career engine just to make sure that you can achieve your success as fast as possible in 2026. Because this is the time. There's no time to waste. Now, if you look at all of this and you've seen what the cost, if you're doing them separately, we're not talking about 12,150. We're not talking about 15,950. And these are USD. We're not even talking about 3,500. If you're joining our standard, it is 2,500 US dollars. Join us and make sure that you can succeed. Now, I tell people this, okay, I'll show you the second one and I'll say what I want to say. Now, for Pro, we'll take it a step further. This is more for people that have at least 5 years of experience in tech risk or compliance, because you'll be getting leadership certification here. Not just you believing that you're a leader or you trying to show that you're a leader. That certification also confirms it. Remember, certification doesn't give jobs, but it has the credibility towards getting a job. You'll be getting an AI leadership certification, which is ISO for 2001 lead implementer. That is the international standard for managing AI. It is recognized globally because we're in partnership with a global certification body. We are able to offer this. If you're getting it anywhere else, it would be at least 2,600 USD to 5,500. Now, everything you're getting from standard, the whole package from standard, you would get. You'd also get this leadership certification on top of that. I would also show you certain tricks as to how to monetize these certifications outside of regular 9 to 5, where you can start to make your money on the side. And if you play your ball right, that can even become your main hustle. And your 9 to 5 becomes your side hustle if you play your game right. So we show you how to do that. Nobody does this. Nobody does this. But if you would get it, it would be a full-on coaching program that would cost between 3,600 and 8,000. But you're getting that within this program. Remember, for anyone that is joining this period, you would also have that 1-year access to our leadership hub with the Career Engine app that will make sure that you're doing the right thing every week towards achieving your success. And you can see how fast the success is. Now, this is not 18,350 today. It's not 29,450 today. It's not even 5,500 USD today. Because if we sell it at any of these prices, it is more than worth it, because I'll tell you why. 1 year of 200,000 or of $100 per hour has paid even 29,000, has paid it almost 10 times. And you can see how fast things work. You have shown you mine, Euphemia showed us how fast you can achieve this success if you do it right. So even 1 year paying you 200,000 or 210,000 per year pays this back, pays the 229,000 back in many folds. But that's not what we're charging you today. You're paying 3,950 US dollars if you work with us. This, remember, you would not just get a certification, you will also have the leadership certification that you can leverage outside of the 9 to 5, that can also start bringing you money, 2,000, 5,000, depending. They can start to bring you money outside of the 9 to 5. Now, if you leverage it really well, it can compound. Remember what I said about success compounding. If you leverage it well, this can compound. So this is just 3,950 US dollars if you're working with us. Now, how do you sign up for this? All you have to do is book a session with us. I believe the link is somewhere, maybe in the chat, or please put it in the chat or in the comment on LinkedIn. Put a call with my team. We'll walk you through exactly how this works. We would walk through your background to make sure that you are fit, because we don't take everybody. You must have the right background. We must see that based on your background and your motivation, you can succeed before we work with you. Which is why we're not saying go make payment. We want to talk to you first to make sure that you're a good fit. And once we determine that, we'll walk through the process, we'll get you enrolled, get you started as soon as possible, because we want to start seeing you pursue your dream as fast as possible. Because Q1 is fresh. We want to see people celebrating opportunities. And I'm not saying just job offers. There are opportunities in different ways. You can be landing. We had, and it still came around last week. It was this week, right, Jide, in the UK. Well, after it was done with the program, he wasn't chasing jobs. He went straight into getting projects with not-for-profits and all of that. And he started making his money. when you do things like that, you probably make more money. Yeah, riskier than 9 to 5, but you probably make more money than 9 to 5. So what we are talking about, we're building leaders here. Leaders that can attract opportunities, not just 9 to 5, but opportunities globally. For context, I'm based in Canada. I'm not in Canada today. I'm in Dubai. And you can see what I've done. I showed you. I am making connections and opening up opportunities for myself. You can do it anywhere in the world. That's exactly what we want to show you how to do to make sure that you can do it consistently. Don't just land one job and go and sleep, but be able to consistently have opportunities line up for you. We don't take a lot of people, remember. Your background must align, your motivation must align before we can work together. And once this enrollment is done, I think the next one is in March. Is it March or April? So click the link, sign up with us, book that call, let's work together. And it's time for questions. Let's take questions. I know we're almost running out of time, but we still have about 10 minutes. So let's take questions. You can let me see what's happening on LinkedIn, see if there are questions. But for those here, you can unmute and ask your questions. Okay, I can see things in the chat. Let me see. One-on-one conversation. Yes, Valentine. Yes, please book that call. The first call would be with Roy. It would do that some pre-qualifications that need to happen, and after that, you would get an opportunity to speak with me for sure. If you're still here, Valentine, yes, you'll be able to speak with me. Absolutely. Oh, Valentine has booked. Great, great, great. I will see you on the call soon. And okay. All right. Are there questions in the any questions for me? Or generally, you don't have to put it in the chat. You can unmute and ask the question. Okay. Okay. Let me ask the audience this question. Is anyone looking for opportunities right now? Maybe you're job searching, you're out of a job, you're on a job, you feel like you deserve more. You are in that place where you're like, there's actually no way, no step forward here. I need something better for myself. Anyone? I have a lot of people here, at least quite a number of people here. No one is talking. Are we here or we just our what's it called is just here? We just tuned in, but we're not really here.
Yeah, hi, DML. This is Emmanuel.
Hey, Emmanuel, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, and you?
Not bad,
So yeah, I'm here. I came in late though, but I think I've actually joined. This should be the second one or so, but I thought I should just join just to to stay here.
Appreciate you being
But I
here.
can still talk again as well. Don't worry.
Appreciate you being here. Yes, we will hold this every 2 weeks because we would go deeper into the topic to to make sure that people can consistently take action. Again, you don't have to come into the program to achieve success, but we'll do the best we can, give as much help for free. But for those that want to work with us, you know how it works, right?
Yeah,
You're already in the program.
Yeah.
And yeah, I know, you didn't, when you joined, you didn't have and I know there's no desperation on your side in terms of, opportunities. But I know the career engine wasn't there, but you probably want to ask Euphemia as to how that works and if it's something that appeals to you, even just the framework.
Yeah,
not
I think
necessarily
to be honest with you, I'm getting to a point as well where I feel I just want to go into consulting, honestly speaking.
Yeah.
So
and it works for consulting, yes.
yeah, exactly. So, but we're going to have
That's what I
conversation
do.
as well once I'm
Yeah,
done with the
absolutely.
lead
It's the same
implementation.
framework I use for my consulting. Yeah, it works.
Yeah, sounds good.
Absolutely. Anyone else? Okay, let me ask this. Is anyone scared of being visible on LinkedIn or online generally? Like you're worried about being seen on there? Anyone? Like you don't want your colleagues to see you, you don't want your
No, okay. Can I
family.
make a comment here?
Absolutely, please go ahead.
Okay, yeah. Okay, I'm sure we've interacted a little bit in the previous course. The issue with the LinkedIn now, sometimes I don't know what advice you would give for somebody who's transitioning. Uh there- there- there's a there's a way it can work with against you in a way if you are already not already nailed into that field into the field, like like this new field, cybersecurity, and people who are coming from a different background. Sometimes LinkedIn, when you're still in that transition, uh trying to refocus it solely on I don't know the kind of advice that's why I've been hesitant. I remember I've been in the program before, in these
It's been
initial
at the curve
stages.
before. Yeah.
Do you get my point?
Yeah, I think I do. Oh, okay, I know. I can't see your name. It just says iPhone
Oh,
12.
Bernard. I don't know. How did I join? I joined with,
Bernard, yes,
yeah.
yes, you started. I remember. I
Yeah,
remember.
I graduated from in the last year.
You
So
did.
the challenge
Okay,
I
yes.
had with that, because it's still new in the field, and I didn't want, the LinkedIn works both ways for the line you are aspiring to and the one you are in. So sometimes if you're not competent enough in the line you are aspiring into, and you focus your LinkedIn on that, then it will jeopardize your current, whatever line you're in. I'm
I
more
get
of
what you're
into,
saying.
yeah. So that's
You
the dilemma that I don't know whether you are put or you're in, how you can help
okay.
or advise on that. Maybe I needed
Absolutely.
to talk, maybe the caller, make a special call with you maybe at a later time. But anyway, can you are input into that?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I can respond to that. And what you described is very similar to an example I gave earlier. The person that was applying to jobs who was hoping that the recruiters wouldn't call, even though he didn't realize he was hoping for that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's almost like, and I don't want to call it perfectionism, but to an extent
Uh-huh.
it is, you're trying to feel, that absolute confidence before you take the action forward. So you're caught in between two things. You don't want
Exactly. Yeah.
to you don't want to lose where you're coming from because you're thinking, what if I don't succeed where I'm going to?
Yeah, that's challenging. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, exactly. But
Mm-hmm.
the what I'll tell you is, unfortunately, is either you're fully in or you're not.
Yeah.
Because if you know, and the real fear is actually, what if I succeed? Because you're thinking, what if I get a job and I can't do it?
Uh-huh.
Exactly. So the fear is not what if you fail. Your fear is what if you succeed in getting a job and you can't do it. But the
Yeah.
only way to know if you succeed or not is to actually go on and get the job.
Mm-hmm.
And you've heard a lot of, thankfully, you actually did the program before. You've heard a lot of stories of people that have gone on to get the jobs and they're still on that job many years later. And
Yeah,
they've
yeah.
grown into other roles. So it's more of a personal, I want to be perfect before I can take the steps forward. But you don't need to be, because there's always something to learn. You look at me now, I'm still learning.
Mm.
I'm still learning every day because you know what you know. When you get on the job, you realize that what you know that feels not enough for you, you know a lot more than saving certain people on the job already, certain people
Mm.
with the title. Because if you've gone through our program, there's a good chance that you have a background. That's why we took you in. You have a
Yeah.
relatable background, that's what took you in. So you have the experience. What you've not had is a job title that's called cybersecurity. Right.
Yeah.
You would find out that based on your own experience from before and what you've learned and put together, you would know more than certain people on the job. And the only way to do that is to actually give yourself the confidence, go on and actually go and get the job.
Okay.
I remember a guy, actually the same guy that was scared of recruiters calling him. And within a week of saying, you know what, damn the consequence, I'm going all in. He started getting calls and he landed the job. He got on the job in Calgary and he'll come and say, I'm the boss here. Everybody respects me. Whatever I say, yeah, because you know what you're talking about. They don't just respect you because they look at you and say, oh, this guy must be respected. They've listened to you talk and they know that you know what you're talking about. Imagine from someone that was scared of talking to recruiters to being respected on the job. So the only way to know for sure is to go on and do it. That's the only way to know. So you have to go, if you really want this, and this is exactly what you want, you have to go all in. There's no in between. There's no in between. Go all in, let your profile speak. So, okay, I'll give you another thing, and I was reading that today as well. You're applying to jobs. Let's even say the ATS picks you. You know the first thing they'll do? They check your LinkedIn profile. If your LinkedIn profile doesn't match what you've applied with, they wouldn't bother calling you. There's no point because it's a waste of time as far as they're concerned. But someone today called it catfishing. You're catfishing. You're catfishing the hiring team because you're telling them you're one thing, but they check your profile and you're something else. You're saying, "Oh, I'm a geek. I'm a man," but then they check, "Oh, you're a woman." And okay, who are you really?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
and all of that. So that again, that's what catfishing is, right? So when you are in between like that, that's what you're doing. And it's for lack of a better word, we're sabotaging ourselves like that because you're neither here nor there. You can't pursue opportunities in your old place because you're trying to move and you're like, okay, I'll hold off on this one, but you're not fully into the other side to actually take a bold step and say, let me go all into this. So you're caught in between. It's in a way sabotaging yourself. So I'll say, if you again, you've done it, you've put in so much into this, go all in and see what happens.
Okay.
Go all in and see what happens. Yes, that's what I'll say. And I know that a number of people on this call that are in your shoes. I wouldn't name anybody, but yes, it's the same advice I'm giving you that I would give them.
I think DML. So maybe I'm not getting it right as well. I mean, his response, anyways. I mean, the last guy that spoke, but I feel maybe part of what he was also trying to say, you know, when you have a profile on LinkedIn, and based on what you also said or the question you asked, right, and you don't want maybe people don't really want their colleagues or their I don't know, to see them, right, with the new title or different things, right? So most especially, even if you're kind of like worried about your current employer. So, but what somebody actually told me, or probably that I saw someone also did, was to not even use the information about their current employer on their profile. So in that way, your profile might not exactly been seen by your current employer or your colleagues. So I don't know how that is going to play out or play out.
What you're saying is not wrong. I'll suggest something different. What you're saying is not wrong. It's not wrong at all. I've seen people do that too. Especially as long as you can defend what you're putting on your profile, it's absolutely fine. It's not fraud. It's not misrepresentation in any way. There's no rule that says you must show your company on LinkedIn. You can maybe you have 2 jobs, maybe you even have your own company and all of that. So people play it in different ways. So that does work. But what I tell people is if your current company is reputable and would position you well as someone that have actually made certain impact, use it. What you need to do, especially if you still have a job, is to start to function as a security person within your team. Let them know the journey you're going into. You're already in a relatable space. Let them know that you've gone through a journey start showcasing your expertise. And we have a lot of people that have done that in our program. Start showcasing your expertise. That's part of visibility. Then you're seen as a security person within your team. When it comes time for background check, your manager will not deny your security expertise. And nobody will check LinkedIn and say, oh, when did you become security?
Sorry to
even
cut you
if they
short
say
there. Even for me, I actually went to the extent of speaking to my director.
But you do
I didn't even-
cybersecurity on your job.
Currently, right?
I don't know what you like right
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
But I
So
know
that's what I'm
back
saying,
then
right?
you did.
Because yeah,
You did.
because yeah, exactly. So because I actually wanted to really fully go into that department as well. And then, right? So I
But you
had
don't have
to.
to, you know.
Sorry?
Okay, go ahead. You don't have to go into the department, but finish
No,
your
no, no,
thoughts.
no, no. I'm talking about even when I started my journey within my organization, right?
Yeah.
And I had
Mm-hmm.
to talk to someone. I mean, because
Mm-hmm.
again, I had to showcase, I had to talk about what I've actually done, what I've gone through.
Mm-hmm.
And the way I was speaking as well with my director, you know,
Yeah.
he immediately knew basically what I've done. And, you know, he just asked me one or two questions. I was like, okay, fine. It seems to be very interesting and all that, right? So, but what I'm trying to say in essence is just that, you know, sometimes one might just have to take the bull by the horn. And
Absolutely, yes.
even if you're not in that particular department, I mean, the security department or what have you,
Yeah.
but speaking about it, because I saw a lot of things, the lapses my organization basically lacks when it comes to GRC generally. So
Yeah.
immediately I saw that it was after the program, right? Immediately I saw that I knew that I had to talk about this. So that was how I actually started my own thing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. No, I know because I know we had certain conversations. I know you worked on a number of initiatives, PCI DSS and all of that
Yeah.
with your company. So great one that you shared that. An interesting thing I would also add, and that's what I was trying to say, that you don't even have to be in the security department to do security. Every unit should have a security person, and you can be that for your team. Because you know what we say? Security is everybody's business. And your company knows that. So then you're suddenly seen as a leader. So if you get to the point where they need reference, there are certain opportunities that will come your way that you don't need reference for. Remember, we're not just talking about a job offer now. We're talking about being open to opportunities, consulting, everything in between. Bernard, you're muted. You have another question?
Oh, sorry. Okay, yes.
Yeah, okay. That's
All right, sorry. Oh no, this is a little bit. I think I need to talk to you. I was thinking if I'll meet you in person because I'm also in Edmonton like you, but now you're calling from. Are you back? Are you gonna be back soon or no?
I'm not sure when I'll be back, to be honest.
Oh, so time difference. I need to have a personal talk with you. So I don't know what time difference.
Yeah. It's a big time difference, like 11 hours.
11
So when
hours.
it's night here, like it's
Yeah, I can
11. It's
imagine.
almost, yes.
Okay.
So it's a big time difference.
Yeah, it's okay. I'll try and maybe you can still be reached by the same number. Is that right?
My number is not available right now. If you try it, it will go through. Oh no, the CRM number would go through. Yes.
Yeah, the CRM number. Yeah, maybe
That's
we'll talk.
yes.
we'll
It's
talk.
my system will most likely pick it up, and yeah, we can arrange something. Yeah.
Okay, no worries. Maybe in the course, early in this coming week.
Okay. Yeah, we'll see. We'll definitely see.
All
Yeah.
right, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. You're welcome. All right. We're already over time. I can take one more question if there's any. Is there anything on LinkedIn? Okay, there's nothing on LinkedIn. At least I can see it. Okay. I guess just for closing, remember that the future doesn't reward experience, it rewards your positioning. The future won't ask you what was your job title. Nobody remembers the job title, but the impact you made will be felt even long after you've left the company. So don't be hell-bent on your title. Position yourself so the world can see the impact you're making. That's how you're seen as a leader. That's how you control opportunities that will pay you or help you live the kind of life that you want to live. Remember what I said before. Most people already know what to do, but very few do it long enough to find success. success always compounds when you stay consistent. Wishing you all the best. And for those of you that I'll be speaking with, book those calls. Let's have the conversation and see how your career trajectory can change within a very short period. Wishing you all, enjoy the rest of the weekend. I'll see you all around. I'll see you in 2 weeks. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye. Bye.